The first thing I saw was 0. Not low, not pending, just gone. I was sitting in my car outside the hospital garage, engine off, hands still on the steering wheel like I was waiting for something else to load. The screen glowed blue against my fingers. $94,750, cleared out. I refreshed it 3 times. I swear I did. Like maybe the app would correct itself and apologize. Nothing. The inside of the car smelled like stale coffee and antiseptic from my scrubs. I'd just finished a 14-hour trauma shift. I'd told a woman her husband didn't make it. I'd held pressure on a kid's chest until my wrists shook. And somehow, this felt worse. That money wasn't extra. It wasn't play money. It was 6 years of double shifts and canceled trips and saying no to things I kind of wanted. It was the Medicaid spend-down trust for my grandfather. Memory care isn't cheap. If his assets sit too high for too long, he loses eligibility. That's how it works. That's how this country works. I opened the transfer history. Outgoing wire. Full amount. To Hart Commercial Holdings. Grant. Of course. My name is Dr. Lila Bennett Hart. I am 34 years old. I stared at my brother's company name like it might blink back at me. Grant doesn't panic. He doesn't make sloppy mistakes. If he moved that money, he meant to. My phone buzzed before I could decide whether to scream or throw it. A text from him. Call me. It's handled. Handled. I laughed. It came out wrong. Short. Sharp. I called. He picked up on the first ring. Lila, he said, calm as ever. Relax. I repositioned the capital. I pressed my thumb into the steering wheel seam until it hurt. That was Grandpa's trust. I said, it's family money. He replied, and I needed it now. Needed it. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat there, staring at the word 0. Then I started the car and drove to my parents' house. I didn't knock. I haven't knocked in that house since I was 16. Mom was at the island with her reading glasses low on her nose. Dad had the television on mute, pretending to follow the news. Grant was standing by the window, jacket still on like he wasn't staying long. He turned first. You look tired. You emptied Grandpa's trust. Mom winced at my tone. Lila, please. It was $94,750. I said. Every cent. Grant didn't deny it. I transferred it. Dad sighed. Sit down, honey. I'm fine. Grant walked closer, lowering his voice like we were co-conspirators. I had 48 hours to secure that property. If I missed it, the bank would have pulled my line of credit. There it is, I said. You're overextended. He didn't answer that. Mom stepped in. Your brother has investors depending on him, and Grandpa has a brain that's disappearing. Grant's jaw tightened. The deal closes. I return the money with profit. Everybody wins, except the part where you forged a signature. Silence. Mom looked at Grant, then at me. He didn't forge. He used an older copy. That's forgery. Dad rubbed his forehead. This family has survived worse. Name one thing worse than stealing from a man who doesn't remember your name. Grant's voice cracked, just slightly. I'm trying to build something real. You think I enjoy asking you for help? I didn't offer help. You never do. He shot back. You just judge. That one landed. Mom folded her hands. Grant has always carried more risk. You chose security. I chose responsibility. And he chose ambition. She said quietly, there it was again. The old division. Safe daughter. Bold son. Grant looked at me differently now. Not smug. Desperate. If you report this, he said, you don't just hurt me. You ruin all of us. I stood there longer than I should have. Then I took out my phone. I didn't go home after the bank call. I drove straight to the memory clinic. The hallway smelled faintly like disinfectant and oatmeal. Grandpa was in the common room, staring at a muted television like it owed him something. Hey, Thomas, I said softly. He blinked at me. You're late. I just got off work. He squinted. Work. Right. You're the nurse. Yeah. He studied my face like he was flipping through old photos in his head. You're the one who stays. I swallowed. I try. He reached for my hand, missed, then found it. His grip was weaker than last week. Don't let them sell the farm. There's no farm, I said gently. There was. He insisted. Your mother wanted to. Of course she did. I sat next to him. Grandpa, if someone took your money without asking, what would you call that? He frowned. Foolish. Foolish or greedy. He leaned closer. Greedy's worse. I let that sit between us. A nurse named Carla came over. He had a rough morning, she whispered. Agitated about bills again. Bills, he muttered now. Always bills. Don't worry about that, I said. He looked straight at me for one clear second. You always fix it. I almost laughed. I'm not sure when I became the one who fixes everything. I just know I don't remember agreeing to it. I squeezed his hand. I'm handling it. He nodded like that was enough. Tell me something. When the person who forgets your name still trusts you, how exactly do you walk away? The bank manager's name was Daniel Ruiz. Mid-40s? Calm voice. Too calm. I need to report unauthorized fiduciary use. I said. He didn't blink. Amount $94,750. From a Medicaid spend-down trust. He typed. The keyboard clicks were sharp in the quiet office. And the transfer recipient Hart Commercial Holdings. His eyes lifted. Just a fraction. Relation. My brother. A pause. Not judgment. Procedure. Did he have power of attorney? He uploaded an old copy. The signature isn't consistent. Ruiz nodded slowly. We'll initiate a forensic signature review. I'm also filing a suspicious activity report. Freeze the funds, I said. We can attempt to intercept if settlement hasn't cleared. Attempt. It depends on timing. I leaned forward. He used a vulnerable elder's trust to fund a commercial deposit. Ruiz met my eyes. I understand. Do you... I almost said it, but I didn't. He printed a form and slid it toward me. If you're certain you want to pursue this, you'll need to sign. I picked up the pen. My hand wasn't shaking. That surprised me. You realize, Ruiz added carefully, this can escalate beyond internal resolution. That's the point. I signed. By the time I walked out, Grant had already texted me. You really filed yes. You just cost me $110,000 in leverage. No, I replied. You cost yourself. He called immediately. Withdraw it, he said. You don't understand what you're triggering. I hung up. Tell me something. When does protecting someone turn into enabling them? 3 days later, my badge flashed red at the employee entrance. Not a glitch, not a dead battery. Just denial. I tried again. Same red light. Security looked at the screen, then at me. They told us to hold you. Who's they, administration? I was still in scrubs. The faint smell of antiseptic clung to the fabric. I'd barely slept. I'd told myself this was just tension, just nerves. HR didn't waste time. A woman I'd seen once at a staff seminar folded her hands. Dr. Hart. We received a formal complaint. From who it was filed with the Virginia Board of Nursing. It alleges narcotics diversion, specifically fentanyl from the Pyxis system over several shifts. I didn't react fast enough. That bothered me. That's not true. We don't determine truth immediately, she said evenly. We initiate review. So you're suspending me. Administrative leave pending internal audit and board inquiry. How many doses are we talking about? I asked. She glanced at the paper. The complaint suggests a pattern. A pattern. I've worked here 8 years, and this is standard procedure. I signed the leave document. My name looked strange on the line. Outside. My phone rang. Mom, what did you do? She asked immediately. I didn't divert narcotics. Grant says you escalated things. He escalated when he forged a signature. You don't know that, she said. I do. Her voice dropped. If you withdraw the bank complaint, this will calm down. You think that's how this works. I think families survive by protecting each other. He threatened me. Silence. Then softer. You're risking everything. I leaned against my car. The metal was warm from the sun. This isn't pride, I said. This is self-defense. Grant texted before I could hang up. Last chance. I stared at the message longer than I should have. You ever realize someone's willing to burn your life down just to avoid admitting they were wrong? He called while I was merging onto Interstate 66. I almost ignored it. I should have. I didn't. Yeah, I said. You need to fix this. Grant began. No greeting. No build-up. I don't. You don't get to ruin my deal because you're emotional. My deal, I repeated. It wasn't your money. It's family capital. You forged Grandpa's name. He exhaled sharply. Listen carefully. Withdraw your sworn affidavit with the bank. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. No. Then I move forward with a formal complaint. Not anonymous this time. I'll testify you diverted fentanyl. I'll make it stick. There it was. Clear. Not vague. Not implied. My dash cam let out a small electronic chirp. Recording. I'm driving. I said evenly. This call is being recorded. Silence for half a second. Then he laughed. You think that scares me, I'm informing you. You're nothing without that hospital. He snapped. You built your identity around being the responsible one. Take that away, and what are you? I tightened my grip on the wheel. Still me. Withdraw it, he said again. Or I escalate. You already did. He hung up first. The road blurred for a second, then steadied. My hands weren't shaking. That surprised me. I saved the recording before I even pulled into the parking lot. Tell me when someone finally shows you exactly who they are. Do you still owe them protection? It didn't collapse in a blaze. It eroded. The assistant United States attorney called on a Tuesday morning. We're moving forward with indictment, she said. Wire fraud, forged fiduciary instrument, and witness intimidation. So there's no way this stays quiet. I replied, it hasn't been quiet for weeks. Grant hired a defense firm out of Alexandria. Expensive, aggressive, for a moment. I thought maybe he'd fight it. He didn't. His real estate license was suspended pending investigation before the indictment even posted publicly. An investor I'd met once at Thanksgiving called me. I heard about Grant, he said carefully. We had exposure in that Fairfax deal. You should talk to your attorney. I answered. They said he used restricted funds. He did. Mom called that night. She wasn't angry. They came to the house. She whispered. 2 men. They asked about the trust. They're building the case. You could still stop this. I can't. You won't. Dad got on the phone. He's your brother. He threatened to destroy my license. He was desperate. So was I. There was a long pause. I could hear Mom crying in the background, not loud, just steady. Grant finally called me himself. I'm facing prison, he said. No swagger left. You knew that was possible. I didn't think you'd let it happen. That one stayed with me. You wired nearly $100,000 out of a dementia patient's trust. I said, you let it happen. Silence. Then quieter. I was trying to fix things. By gambling Grandpa's future, he didn't answer. Meanwhile, Grandpa's decline sped up. He asked me 3 times in one afternoon if we still owned land in North Carolina. There was something he kept saying. There was security, a belief that family meant safety. The indictment posted 3 months after the freeze. Federal charges. Public record. Mom called again. You don't know what this is doing to him, she said. I know exactly what he did. You ever watch someone shrink not because they're evil, but because they miscalculated how far they could push? It's not dramatic. It's gradual. It's pride draining out of a voice that used to fill rooms. The courtroom felt smaller than I expected. Grant stood at the defense table in a gray suit I'd seen him wear to investor dinners. It hung differently now. He kept his hands flat on the wood like he was steadying himself. The assistant United States attorney read the charges without emphasis. Wire fraud in the amount of $94,750. Forged fiduciary instrument. Witness intimidation. The judge looked at Grant. "How do you plead?" Grant's lawyer whispered something. Grant nodded once. "Guilty," he said. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't defiant. It was tired. Mom's breath caught beside me. Dad stared straight ahead. The judge continued. "The court imposes a sentence of 48 months in federal custody. Restitution in the amount of $102,000. Supervised release upon completion. 48 months. Grant turned then. He looked at me like he was searching for something, maybe blame, maybe help. I don't know. The judge shifted his gaze to me. "Dr. Hart, you have the right to make a statement." For a second, I thought about it. I imagined saying everything I'd swallowed for years, about hierarchy, about favoritism, about being the one who stayed. I stood. "No, Your Honor." Grant blinked. That seemed to unsettle him more than anything else. Outside, Mom caught my sleeve. "You could have asked for mercy," she said. "He admitted what he did. He's still your brother. He was willing to ruin me." Dad spoke quietly. "You've won." I shook my head. "This doesn't feel like winning." Grant walked past us in cuffs. For the first time in my life, he looked uncertain. Sometimes the loudest thing in a room is what no one says. HR called a week after sentencing. "Dr. Hart, the Pyxis audit is complete," the director said. "No discrepancies. Your record is clear." I figured. "We'd like to reinstate you immediately. In fact, we're prepared to offer you ER shift director. Salary adjustment included." "How much?" $182,000 annually. I almost laughed. Not because it wasn't generous, because it felt like a bribe from the universe. "You'd have authority over narcotics control," she added. "Given what you've been through." I appreciate it," I said slowly. "But I'm declining." There was a pause. "Declining the promotion, the position." "Why?" "Because I don't want to build my life around defending it." Silence again. "Different kind this time. You're certain?" "Yeah." I hung up and stared at my reflection in the dark screen. "Tell me, what do you do when the thing you fought to protect doesn't feel like yours anymore?" I signed the contract on a Wednesday afternoon. Colorado Springs. Trauma unit. 2 years. It wasn't dramatic. Just a digital signature and a confirmation email. Mom called the night before I left. "Families survive worse than this," she said. "Do they?" I asked. "You're still his sister. He's still serving 48 months. Silence stretched. "You didn't have to let it go that far," she said finally. "I didn't let it," I replied. I stopped pretending. Dad came on the line. "Running won't fix anything." "I'm not running," I said. "I'm choosing." Grandpa didn't understand when I told him I was leaving. He held my hand and smiled. "You'll visit the farm," he said. There was no farm. I whispered, "But I'll visit." He nodded like that settled it. On the drive west, the road opened up in front of me. No applause, no closure, just distance. Grant will get out someday. My parents will call. Maybe they'll want the old version of me back, the reliable one, the cushion. I don't know what I'll do then. What I do know is this being the stable one doesn't mean absorbing the damage. Sometimes staying loyal means telling the truth, even when it costs you. If you've ever been the one who holds everything together, you understand the weight of that. And maybe you understand the relief of finally setting it down.